Atepu, assalamu alaikum, namaste, haru nefer. This is Kasank Ma Keperu with another video for you. And in this video, I want to talk about what Black Lives Matter really stand for. But before I do that, I want you to hit the like button on this video. If this is your first time to my channel, hit the subscribe button to get notifications so when I go live and when I upload recorded videos. Also, I do have free ebooks to expand on my spiritual teachings. If you're interested in going deeper down the rabbit hole, click on the links below and start downloading the ebooks so you can start reading them today. Otherwise, if you're really, really studious, you can support us on Patreon. You'll get exclusive access to instructional videos on how to meditate, how to invoke spirits for your protection, how to do self-hypnosis to get rid of fear, anxiety, how to work with oracles, be a diviner, Qigong, how to master mantras, healing mantras that can actually change the fabric of reality. So become a Patreon supporter. You can do so for as little as $1, $5, or $20 per month. You can cancel anytime. There's never any obligation. Last but not least, please share this video with family and friends so we can get this revolution started. So haru nefer, let's go into this discussion and talk about what Black Lives Matter really stands for. Now, we know what amid our let me say this right, Ahmaud Arbery and George Floyd's death, we see that the world is galvanizing, that the world is protesting against the killing of Black men in particular, but Black people in general. And what seems to be benefiting greatly from all of this is Black Lives Matter. We're seeing that various corporations are donating to Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is getting front and center attention. So we have to ask the question, is this something really that is going to benefit Black people as a whole? What is this organization? Where did it come from? What is it about? There are many organizations. There's the NAACP. There's a Congress of Black Equality, something to that nature, Congressional Black Caucus. There's ADOS. There's so many organizations out there. Why is this one front and center and getting all the support and really having legs? So let's really dive into that and get an understanding about that. One of the things I want to talk about briefly is that in my program, Reality Manifestation, which is an awesome program if you're looking to learn how to manipulate the matrix, to manipulate the very fabric of reality, and to manifest things in your life, things that you desire, you should look to get into that program. And one of the things we covered in that program was how to manipulate and influence people. And we kind of went into depth about how do you psychically influence people, and lead them to a certain outcome that is beneficial to you. And I remember years ago experiencing things like this, where you ever have something called the bait and switch happen to you. Maybe you've gone to a car dealer or you've seen an ad in the paper for a particular car, and you went down to the car dealer only to find out that they told you the car wasn't there anymore, but they had other cars they wanted to show you and sell you. That's the common bait and switch tactic. They get you down there, they bait you in, and they switch it out on you. Well, in my investigations and looking into Black Lives Matter, it seems to me like a typical traditional bait and switch. And I'm going to go into a little bit of detail about that and what that is about. For what we have to really look at and understanding is that if we have these programs that are sponsored by special interest groups like George Soros or think tank institutions like the Rockefeller Foundation, what have you, we have to ask, are these organizations, institutions, are they out for our benefit? Are these individuals like your Bill Gates, your philanthropists, people, are they really out there to help us, and do the investigation? And if they are not out there for our benefit, then we need to immediately stop supporting said organizations and said individuals, But the thing that I turn to time and time again that has proven to be 100% objective and the truth is the oracles. The oracles is the word of God. The oracle is an ancient system, a divining system that our ancestors in antiquity practiced that would tell us the truth of the matter. And we know that because the ruling elite has taken control of the planet, they represent the oligarchy, the 1%. They have eradicated the shaman, the priests and priestesses. George Lucas told us about that in his film Star Wars, where he tried to tell us about it, where they killed off all the Jedis before they instituted the new regime of the Empire. That's what has happened. They eliminated the priests and priestesses, and they put in place their taskmasters, their appointees, the ministers and preachers of the major Western religions, the Christian ministers, So now we are indoctrinated into their philosophy, their way of life, their religion, the religion of Islam, Catholicism, Judaism, Christianity. Those religions rob you of your power because they teach you that you are sinful and that you are helpless, that you must have an intermediary in order to know the truth and to save you. Point blank lie. So those who work with me and my students, we do not subscribe to such notions because we know, according to our ancient Kemetic ancestors, Egyptian ancestors, we know that we are gods. We are God men and God women. We're not God in quantity, but we're God in quality. So you need to understand that. And that the ancient Egyptians, their whole life, their whole philosophy was about achieving a state of the divine, to becoming the likeness of God. And you will see that not only in all of the statues and the Metu Neter, the hieroglyphics, they venerated the male and also the female. Wherever you saw the male sitting in his throne, you saw beside him the female, because they understood the principle of the yin and the yang. Okay, there was no ideas of like equality in their mind because they worked on the principle of cosmologics. Cosmologics says a place for everything and everything in its place. Equality is something different. All right. You must understand that. So we need to ask this question. What is Black Lives Matter? What is its real agenda? Is it out for our benefit? Is it out to support the family, the Black family? Because we know that we have a problem in the Black community that has been state sponsored, that has been put in place by the ruling elite and oligarchy, meaning that they have gone in and intervened in the Black family to destroy the patriarchy. We know that the male head of the family, when you remove him, you remove the only defense that the Black community has against the onslaught of the ruling elite. You see, their plan is to destroy the patriarchy in the Black community, and they have been successful in their endeavors to do so. And now they're moving toward the white community to do the same thing by setting up a gender war and a power structure between white women and white men, which is why you see Hollywood pumping out more movies that venerate and that hold in such high esteem white women and put down white men. Well, this has been going on for a while now in the Black community. The attack on the Black male, vilifying the Black male in media, using as the instrument of their annihilation of Black male masculinity, the Black female, giving her positions and privileges so that she can annihilate Black male power structure and position, telling the Black woman through created ideologies such as feminism that Black male are the root and the cause of your problems, which that is a lie. That is a lie. So you need to be aware of that. But I don't need to discuss these things. I don't need to preach from the pulpit about what the ruling elite and the destruction and the plan that they have in store for us. You see, you must understand that they are very clever. They finance both sides of the argument. So no matter who wins or who loses, they win. You see, they've done this throughout time, finance both sides of the war, World War I, World War II. They had their hand in both sides so that they would ensure their victory. Such is the case we see in the political system we have today with the Democrats, the Republicans. Doesn't matter come November who wins. They backed finance both sides, and they hide in the shadows so that you'll never see them. You'll never know of their existence. That's how they're able to get away doing the things that they do. They operate in the shadows. So you think the problem is Trump. You think the problem is Biden. You think the problem is the Republican Party. You think the problem is the Democratic Party. No, the problem is with the hidden elite, the cabal, those that you do not see. George Lucas said this in his movie, The Hidden Hand, The Phantom Menace. Understand, Hollywood is trying to tell you the truth about what's going on in the world. Hollywood is spilling the beans. So let us not be so deaf, dumb, and blind and not pay attention to what is happening. Understand that no matter what side you support, they win. You have to divorce yourself of the Hegelian dialectic and say, I choose neither. I will not play this game. No matter what piece you move on the chessboard, the pawn, the king, the queen, they are both players. You see, they are the white pieces and they are the black pieces. So no matter who wins, they win. No matter who loses, they win. It's a win-win situation for them. They cannot lose. So you have to bow out and say, I refuse to play the game because the deck is stacked against me. It's a no-win scenario for me. So here you come an institution like Black Lives Matter, and you have to question, where did it come from? Why is all the corporations so readily able to give them millions and millions of dollars in support? What are they really out to do? What is their real agenda? And as I said, starting out in this broadcast, we only understand and know this by going to the Word of God, the oracles. So, my beloved, let us do so right now. Let us consult the great oracle of Tahuti and ask this question in respect. Hail Tahuti, making victorious Asar over his enemies on the night that of battle, and the making the feathering of the Sabahu, day that destroying the enemies of Nebuchadnezzar, night that of making to stand the Jet and Jadu. Salutation of power, Father, Mother, Supreme Being who comes is Tahuti. Thanks for the words divine. My heart belongs to you. Great oracle of Tahuti, please comment on if Black Lives Matter is beneficial to Black people. Ma'adatep. Ninth hexagram of the I-ching. Now, Ma'at is the daughter of Ra. Ma'at is truth, balance, reciprocity. Ma'at is love. Ma'at is righteousness. Now, I want to share my screen to talk to you about something important. Let us go to Black Lives Matter. Let's take a look at their website, shall we? What we believe. All right. For years, 4 years ago, what is now known as Black Lives Matter global network began to organize. It started out as a chapter-based member-led organization whose mission was to build local power and to intervene when violence was inflicted on Black communities by the state. Okay, in the years since, we've committed to struggling together to imagining and creating a world free of anti-Blackness, where every Black person has the social, economic, and political power to thrive. Black Lives Matter began as a call to action in response to state-sanctioned violence and anti-Black racism. Our intention from the very beginning was to connect Black people from all over the world who have a shared desire for justice to act together in their communities. The impetus for the commitment was, and still is, the rampant and deliberate violence inflicted on us by the state. All right, so let's go down because I want to bring your attention to something. We are unapologetically Black in our positioning. In affirming that Black Lives Matter, we need not qualify our position. To love and desire freedom and justice for ourselves is a prerequisite for wanting the same for others. I agree with that. That sounds good. We see ourselves as part of the global Black family, and we are aware of the different ways we are impacted or privileged as Black people who exist in different parts of the world. We are guided by the fact that all lives matter, regardless of actual or perceived sexual identity, gender expression, economic status, ability, disability, religious beliefs or disbeliefs, immigration status, or location. Okay. We make space for transgender brothers and sisters to participate and lead. We are self-reflective and do the work required to dismantle cisgender privilege and uplift Black trans folk, especially Black trans women, who continue to be disproportionately impacted by trans antagonistic violence. We build a space that affirms Black women and is free from sexism, misogyny, and environments in which men are centered. We practice empathy. We engage comrades with the intent to learn and to connect with their contexts. So I'm seeing some very concerning things of what I am reading. Now, let me just start out by saying that I am not in any way against anybody's belief system or the way they wish to live. But what I am seeing from just this page alone, this seems more like an organization that is about the pursuit of transgender rights and not so much the Black family. And it, in one sentence, made it very clear that it did not like that environments in which men are centered. Let's leave it there. I'm not going to comment anymore. You can interpret that as you will, okay? What I will do here is I am going to take a look at another page, shall we? Let's go, share my screen again. Let's look at about Black Lives Matter, see what that says. We are expansive. We are a collective of liberators who believe in an inclusive and spacious movement. We also believe that in order to win and bring as many people with us along the way, we must move beyond the narrow nationalism that is all too prevalent in Black communities. I don't know what that means. They need to clarify that to me. We must ensure we are building a movement that brings all of us to the front. I think that's the goal of the Black communities, but okay. We affirm the lives of Black, queer, and trans folks, disabled folks, undocumented folks, folks with records, women, and all Black lives along the gender spectrum. Did I miss them? Wait, I didn't see anything about men here, or males. We affirm the lives of Black, queer, and trans folks, disabled folks, undocumented folks, folks with records, women, all Black lives along the gender spectrum. Well, I guess along the gender spectrum includes men. Our network centers those who have been marginalized within Black liberation movements. Who's been marginalized in Black liberation movements? All right. I'm going to leave that there. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. I am not going to say any more about that. Yeah, I don't think I was. Well, you know what? I think the best way to determine what an organization really stands for, aside all of that verbiage, because verbiage can be misleading, right? Let us take a look at who's leading the organization. Because think of the organization has the right people at the head of it, as the administrators, as the managers, as the heads, then you can rest assured that they have a vision of where they want to take things, and you can trust that. All right. So let's just take a look at that. Let me just share my screen and let's take a look at the co-founders. I have nothing against these individuals. I don't know them. I think that's Patrice. She is an artist, organizer, and freedom fighter for the Los Angeles, California, co-founder of Black Lives Matter and founder of Dignity and Power. Now she is a New York Times bestselling author. Okay, sounds great. Patrice recently toured her multimedia performance art piece, Power, from the mouths of the Occupied, a gripping performance piece highlighting the impact of mass criminalization and state violence in Black communities across the United States. Yeah, well, awesome. Alicia, all right. Okay, Alicia is an Oakland-based organizer, writer, public speaker, and freedom dreamer who is currently the Special Projects Director for the National Domestic Workers Alliance. Great. Since the rise of the Black Lives Matter movement, Garza has become a powerful voice in the media. Awesomeness, that's great. Let's go. Oh, okay. It says, most important as a queer Black woman, Garza's leadership and work challenges the misconception that only cisgender Black men encounter police and state violence. That's an interesting thing. Let's go on to the next person. Opal, okay, is a New York-based Nigerian-American writer, strategist, and community organizer. Opal is a co-founder of Black Lives Matter. The historical political project was launched in the wake of the murder of Trayvon Martin. Okay, sounds good. She does some work with BET's Black Girls Rock. Oh, okay. She is currently at the helm of the country's leading Black organization for immigrants' rights, the Black Alliance for Justice Immigration. Okay. She sounds cool. Wait, hold on a second. A transnational feminist. Opal supports and helps shapes the strategic work of Pan-African Network in defense of migrant rights. Transnational feminist, okay. All right, let's keep going. What else do we have here? Bachelor's degree, sounds great. That's it. Wait a minute. Is there any men in the head of this organization? Where are the men? There's no men. I see we have, it's all female, all right, who are feminists and queer. All right, nothing wrong with that, but wouldn't it be nice to have some men? All right, well, hey, that's the organization there, all right. That's interesting. Okay. So when we're dealing with the issues that pertain to the Black community, we must understand that Black men have specific issues and that their issues should be specifically addressed. And that is Black men have a high incarceration rate. We know that there is a lot of especially by the media, portrayals of Black men as the criminal element into society, especially with movements like the Me Too movement, social justice warriors. So I would like to have seen a little more focus and attention on the issues as they pertain specifically to Black men, to understand the specific issues that Black men face, especially in regards to encounters with the police. And of course, we're not going to forget that Black women as well lose their lives and are victimized by the police. Okay, so that's we have to recognize that fact as well. But when I look at the organization here, I think there is, for me, great concern. And then I want to bring it back to Ma'at, because Ma'at stands for relationships. Mod is about balance. Mod says that if you're going to have the male principle, you must have the female principle. You have the female principle, must have the male principle. And Mod also talks about context, reciprocity, relational thinking. So we have to ask this question. And we're just asking a question. We know that organizations like the Rockefeller Foundation and many others have their hand in eugenics and trying to depopulate the planet. We know that feminist organizations by individuals like Margaret Sanger and things of that nature seek to decrease the population of Black communities and Black people in general. So we have to ask the question, what is to the benefit of the Black community? And when we look at what is to the benefit of the Black community, we have to say strong Black families. And we look at that in terms of the nuclear family, the traditional family. And in order to keep that in place, we have to strengthen the male patriarchy. We have to look and say that Black men need to be able to build businesses, build an economic structure, build a political foundation in conjunction with Black women. So I would like to see more of a balanced perspective with Black Lives Matter. I would like to see it work in conjunction with a leadership that entails the male perspective, all right? So I think I've given you a lot of information here to digest, to take a look at. And you can go and do your own research and make your own determination if this organization is out for the benefit of those in our community and for us in general. But what I want to leave you with is this idea that if you don't have strong men in your communities, if you don't have a strong male patriarchy, you open yourself up for the destruction of your community, the destruction of your people. And we know that this country has had a history of violence, eugenics, depopulation, Planned Parenthood, all of that stuff to water down the Black population, the Black numbers. So any organization that comes along, we have to first make sure, first and foremost, that it supports the Black family. When we look at what Black Lives Matter stands for and the leadership, that has to be called into question. We have to ask, hey, it's great that you are looking out for these other marginalized groups, but we would like to know what is it that you are intend to do, and what is it as part of your agenda that will ensure the longevity and the sustainability of the traditional Black family. And if anything opposes that, then we cannot support that. We cannot support that. That would be supporting our own destruction. Just like back in the 30s, 40s, when they were trying to put Planned Parenthood in Black communities to entice Black women to abort their babies. We cannot support that. We cannot support that. We are people who are being victimized at every turn, economically, politically. We have gone through a horrid period known as slavery and come out of that and been subjected to Jim Crow laws, redlining, mass incarceration, the CIA putting drugs into our communities, So we've gotta say, we have to be very critical of these organizations now and what their true objective is, because when we have placed our faith in government programs or these institutions, they have failed us. They have failed us time and time again. So I want to leave you with that, to pick up on this and run with this and do your own research and ask these questions on your own and decide for yourself what organizations do you support? If you want to support Black Lives Matter, there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to support the Congress of Black Equality or NAACP or whatever is out there, ADOS, hey, that's up to you. Nothing wrong with that. But what I am saying to you is just make sure that the agenda stands for the furthering of the Black family, and that it also stands for the immediate halt of terrorism and violence against Black males, which have gone on for far too long, far too long. So I'm going to conclude and then say to you, as always, this is Kasant Ma Kaparu, son of Ma and Tuli. Ma is the beautiful goddess Heteru. Until my next broadcast, I'm in Ra.